session.
Well,
I heard you volunteering, Telesh. Good on you. You haven't done a recap.
Just give me a second. Yeah, my throat's been funny, so yay. And please do fill in the holes, because that was a very sketchy session for me. In any case, suppose we all started together, where there was a lot of talk about Sigrid to begin with and her magical powers. She didn't take it well when Brooke told her that, hey, you're magical. And after that, Talash and her had quite a talk, which went rather well, all things considered. Jamorn talked to her captain about, what they talk about, safety, the key, etc. Did you talk about anything really important? Because I may have missed that.
Mostly just about, like, having somebody there that had sending available.
Oh yeah,
wasn't
sending available.
one of the people from the Shattered Teeth, like... just have some of your own people around that can relay a message very quickly, should anything happen.
Should anything happen to the area, yes. Very
Not
important.
out of suspicion, but out of, just...
Safe, just general safe guards in place where, oh shit, we need to contact them immediately and not wait for that pigeon to turn up 5 weeks later.
Yeah.
Brooke was, for the most part, just in awe over everything, just fawning over Io and all the divas the entire time.
She's a fangirl. Don't judge her.
I don't judge her. I'm just putting it out there.
You know what? Maybe if Telesh actually saw his god in a good light, maybe he would understand. But, maybe he picked the wrong god.
We're going to find that out at some point, I'm very sure. Either one may be ending up dead or they end up hugging each other. Who knows? Do apologize in terms of Maya. I did not write what you did. It completely slipped. What did you do during our downtimey business?
I mostly worked on, notes for my play and just...
And then she was reunited with her love.
Yeah. I have a lot of means of talking with Saranthia, so did that a lot.
But yeah, we spent a bit of time just wrapping things up at the keep before the airship itself arrived, whereafter we're onwards to Whitestone, going back home. Two people cannot wait the entire journey, which is also fair. So they decide to teleport back to Whitestone. 3 days left of the journey, Jamon and Maya, and I am really happy I never critted the diva that I decided to fight and just test out the abilities of. Because a voice in my head have been telling me that would have been terrible. And, well, yeah, Maya spent a lot of time with Saranthia back home, Jamorn with his family, and all the necromantic possibilities of his new child. I love that so much. Yeah. Oh, she's going to be wonderful. More than she already is.
Yeah, most kids play with Legos. She plays with, the bones of a decaying deer.
Yeah, pretty much. Brooke spent the remaining time aboard the ship the same way she spent the entire trip, fawning over Io, who were now spending a bit of time trying to hide from Brooke, because it's getting a bit too much fangirl.
Brooke
She's just very intent.
She got really shut down when she tried to talk to Io before, so she's mostly just been sitting by herself in a corner writing her book.
Okay, well, that was a lot more depressing than I had. Fair enough. And Soleil also had a talk to Io in the end, just before arriving to Whitestone, about how she felt about the gods, and figured out that, hey, she's the one that gave secret magical powers. Wonderful. It's gonna work out great as well.
Excellent. And as we wrapped the session, the party was arriving by airship.
We had just arrived at Whitestone.
And been
we gave
greeted.
Georgie presents.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we gave her presents.
Yes,
She was there to collect them.
yes, that's true. Georgie is a child. That's the word I was thinking about. And I just got a text message. So, what would you like to do?
Well. I have a few ideas.
Oh, please pitch some.
I want to maybe go to our library. Io wants to find Ayun, and we have kind of a history with, excuse me, with having to find things about Io destroyed in places that the Cobalt Reserve has been, like a Temple of Ayun. And I would just sort of like to know why ahead of time from maybe a third party Io is intent on finding her sister. I'd like to know a little bit more about that relationship before we decide how helpful to be.
I would like to go to the library, please.
Team
Yeah.
powwow in the White Library, or
I mean, anybody that wants to go there, sure. But, I mean, I'm just gonna be trying to find things. Anybody that wants to help would be welcome.
Lesh would probably tag along. I mean, you're the smart people, especially Brooke and Maya. So really, Tulesh would just tag along for moral support and maybe being lucky.
okay. I'll go to the library.
And you are bringing everyone?
It seems so.
I
Okay.
think she means your fam bam.
I mean, if they want to, it's not super exciting.
Getting knowledge is
No.
always exciting.
Yeah, well, that's true. That is unproblematic. Let's see. Labyrinth, library. I have a lot of. Um, it's simple enough with the use of a stone.
Yes.
You find yourself in the hall of your accumulated knowledge.
Yeah, I'd like to maybe well, maybe they didn't get everything out of there, and maybe now that I know what I'm specifically looking for, it'll be easier to find, but can I tell which of the books were the ones that we took out of that temple way back? Where we found the burned stuff?
They're scattered around. Most of
Okay.
them have been restored.
Okay.
And they are in their respective sections. Like history is
Sure.
under history, and
Yeah.
what specifically are you looking for?
I'm looking for anything that is referencing Io and Ioun together. I want to find out more about the relationship, why one might be looking for the other. What are the consequences of uniting them at this point? That type of stuff.
Give me. You know it's coming.
Oh, my mouse is already on it.
An investigate.
Yeah.
May I roll as well?
Sure.
Let's use the 16 instead.
Okay. Luck.
Yep.
With 16, it's not a lot. Keep in mind, Io was practically an unwritten page before you started really getting into it. I'm hearing a faint, I'm hearing myself, and I'm not sure who it is. So keep an eye.
Maybe me. I'm not entirely sure. Not how that happens, but might be. We'll have an eye on it.
Okay. You do find reference to Ioun fighting the Chained Oblivion until she was forced to back down, badly wounded. She has not been an active god since then. People know that she's still alive because Seer sometimes gets visions, and that's her domain.
Wait, who gets visions sometimes?
Seers, any kind of prophetic vision of the future is considered Ioun's domain.
Like the Vistani.
Like the Vistani. It does. One thing does pop out, mainly because you recognize the name. Osisa.
Osisa?
Mm-hmm. She is the leader of the Slayer's Take, and she is known to get prophecies from Ioun.
Ooh.
She has been recovering in hiding since her fall in the battle. One thing She is vehemently against deception. Any form of deception. Like, she is truthful to a fault.
Sure.
Like, don't tell Ayun secrets, because she will spill them. She believes that secrets have no place in the world.
This is Ayun?
Yes.
Okay. Not Osisa.
So, give me an insight check with disadvantage. I mean, you're trying to scry into the motives of a god. Yeah, it's really hard to tell why she would search out Ayun, but
that's actually 23.
you're awful.
I know. Using a lot of luck in this library, though.
You can think of 3 possibilities.
Okay.
1. If Io doesn't know who betrayed her and Ayun was at the final battle, Ayun will tell her. 2. All the history books are wrong, and Ayun was one of the people who betrayed her, and she was not mortally wounded and is actually doing fine. 3. They're actually sisters, and she genuinely cares about her.
Okay.
4. Ayun owes Io money.
5. Ayun is actually Dracula.
Oh,
I
shit.
knew it.
I didn't even think about that.
Are you satisfied with the information you've gathered? I have a spell that I could also cast.
I think I'm happy with it.
Okay.
Is there anything else you would like to? I mean, this is what Jamorn is researching, and
Yeah.
Brooke is helping out. Brooke, you do find some interesting tidbits, just not stuff directly linking Ayun and Io.
Right.
But you do find multiple, like, older symbols of the gods. Many of them have like a element of things that you recognize from what you've learned about Io. Things that would make sense if she is, as she claims, like, was the first god on this plane.
Right. Can I make a list of all the god symbols that have changed?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me look at my list. Like, none of the evil gods had an element of her in them anyway, except for potentially the Chained Oblivion, but he kind of has like a perpetually like a spiral, not a circle. But Corellin, his symbol used to be enclosed by a circle. To remind you of it. Melora had serpents on her staff originally.
Mm-hmm.
And Pelor.
Ooh. And those are the only ones that I could find that had significant changes.
Yes, like obvious changes done.
Okay.
Like, that doesn't necessarily mean like the god made a decision, like with Io and her divinity being knowledge lost to many of them. Like clerics might be like, why does like snakes are bad? Why do the Melora have snakes on her staff? We should take those out. They're not very friendly.
Okay.
Like, you don't know why it happened. You just see evidence of it. Tolesh and Maya, are you researching anything specifically?
Celeste would try to look into the not specifically Io relation, but more general of Io and the gods themselves, also into the whole Court and Bane, how they factor in.
Give me an investigation roll.
Yay! Oh, that was an advantage. So 7.
Oh, excellent.
Yes.
Very hard to find. Like, for one thing, Brooke and Jamorn are kind of hogging all the IO books. Not gonna lie. As for Horde, he did not originate on the plane.
So he was one who traveled here?
Yes.
Right.
And so was his brother. They used to be very close. Until they weren't. He is probably the god who's like imparted godhood on the most people. One of the gods who's like most directly involved with humans.
Do they necessarily say try to point toward anything when Bane and Cord weren't really good buddies any longer?
Yes.
Because was it after the whole IO business or before?
No, it was before.
It was
Bane killed they had a third brother that Bane killed. But it wasn't long before. At least not by like a divine perspective. Bane, like the original falling out was over Bane killing his brother. That bridge might have been, not set fire to, if after the Dawn War, when Bane was still like a slightly neutral god, Bane was very active during the Dawn War. Like he commanded a lot of their forces. Bane believed, after the presumed death of Io, that he was the best possible leader. Not surprisingly, the other gods kind of disagreed. Bane was very much against the separation that exists between the divine realms and the prime material plane. Like his brother, he too was very involved in humans. And that's probably one of the reasons why he is so firmly evil now. Bane is probably one of the more restricted deities, constantly watched by the other gods, since he is known for, meddling in the matters of men. Their tenets are very similar.
Their what? Sorry, I missed that word.
The tenets of their faith.
Yeah.
are very similar. Bane and Cord. So, in many ways, it's understandable that they were close. It's just that they sort of chose a different way of achieving their goals, which broke their relationship. Maya, what you studying? Or have you just gone to the bridal magazines looking for wedding dresses?
I was thinking maybe look into my mask. I know it's a long shot, but
Sure.
I'm probably the best investigator of the group, so there's a chance.
Roll me
Plus
an
all-
investigation.
A lot of these books
You
came
say
from the same
that.
place.
You
I know, I cursed myself. We'll see.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Never punished.
Oh, did I mention you have disadvantage? Just kidding.
Oh.
Because you're wearing the mask.
What? It like averts my eyes from the truth. That's terrifying.
I have so many things. Okay, items, Maya, mask of mystery, blah blah blah. What? Well, the mask is a remnant of a dead god.
Okay.
The goddess Lyra, who is the goddess of illusion. She is a chaotic neutral god of the trickery domain.
Why is she a deceased?
She was she's assumed to have left this plane. Like she's a dead god in the sense that she's not involved.
She's not around anymore. Okay.
Yeah. Now, some people say, oh, well, she died in the Dawn War, because loads of gods did actually die.
Fair.
But many people claim that after the Dawn War, when the gods erected the barrier between this world and the next, I mean, she was a god of trickery and mischief. She's like, peace, I'm out. There are other...
I want to be on the fun side of this wall.
Yeah, I want to be on the planes where I can like actually influence shit that's going on. I hear that's super cool. Okay, bye. I'll be in Greyhawk if you need me. So long. She is a god though. Like she is a god of trickery. So she's the kind of god that might be like, Surprise! I'm back. I hear interesting shit's going on, and you need a god of trickery and general fuckery. I am here for that. Masks are very much her thing.
Which god is this?
Lyra.
Oh, okay.
She's known as the Lady of Deception or the Lady of the Mist. And she is the patron of illusionists and liars. Her divine realm, the Court of Illusion, was who knows in limbo, which is a plane of chaos.
Okay.
With the 30. Illusion is definitely her thing. And going by that, after you got the mask, you've never cast an illusion spell to change your appearance. You never needed to.
True.
But yeah, I think everyone have learned something valuable today. It's been a long, hard day of hitting the books. You know, midterms are coming.
Yep.
So, as you all feel in your shoulders and neck that you've been hunched over books for way too long, what would you like to do?
Never too long.
I mean, I feel like Brooke can probably outread anyone in this room just by sheer determination. That doesn't mean it's good for you or your eyesight. The room is brightly illuminated, by the way. Like, she knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
She put the lighting in this
Yeah.
room. She's like, we need more lamps.
I think I would probably stop by the Grey Hunt and just make sure that everybody knows what the hell's going on, who's here. We need to find a place for Io. And maybe the Grey Hunt isn't the worst. I mean, Kana's there, and they've managed to keep her hidden.
Yeah. There, when you arrive at the Grey Hunt, a few things strike you.
Oh.
Kana is there. Willis is not. Other than Kana, there are a couple of new recruits. But none of the familiar faces that you would expect to see, like Valeria, Riker, Vanya, Alan, none of them are around.
Okay, so I'm definitely gonna ask Kana where everybody else is.
They are helping with the airship preparations for the funerals.
Ah. Yeah. Okay.
We've been recruiting in your absence, as you can see.
That's good.
I hear we are heading into interesting times.
To say the least.
Zara's looking good, though.
Yeah,
Big.
Sarah's always looking good.
Big, but good. She's like an egg.
Oh. Been a lot of egg metaphor in my life recently.
I didn't mean it as a metaphor. I mean, she literally looks like an egg.
She looks like an actual egg. Well, eggs are cute.
With legs and a tiny, tiny head on top of.
Okay. So, you know who we brought here, right?
I heard. Do you know where they're putting them?
No.
I guess would be the barracks. I mean, there's plenty of room.
Makes sense. You know if they need help?
With the bodies?
Yeah.
I mean, most everyone's been helping out all day. The funerals will be on Earth Day. And today, 24th. So it will be on. No, it's not. What am I looking at? It's the 24th. So it will be. Actually, today would be the 25th. And I haven't updated. The 27th is Earth Day.
Okay. You guys can do whatever you'd like. I think I'm gonna go to the airships. And that's what I'll do. I will. Oh, I don't know if you all went to the Grey Hunt, I guess. I am going to the airships.
To help out with the bodies.
Yep.
Yep. Maya, what are you doing?
I have something that might be better done in PRP. I might want to
Okay.
reserve the time for that. I kind of want to teleport to Amon since I can.
I will book you a slot over the course of the week.
Okay.
And do you have any idea how long it would take?
I mean, probably only like would be pushing it to just like go solo mode, but like maybe like half an hour or two. Maybe just over.
Okay. Telesh.
Thinking.
No, I mean, I was thinking more, Maya, about how long Maya would be gone for. Like,
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Like a couple of hours or a day.
Probably a full day,
Okay.
but not much
So
more.
Maya will return tomorrow. Telesh, what are you
What's
doing?
the time of the day?
Mid-afternoon. Like maybe 4 o'clock. You spent like morning and midday in the library.
Yeah. The details can always wait, but Telesh would, in his restlessness after having been cooped up, he would actually go and try and fight a goldsmith or jeweler.
Yeah. That's kind of a struggle bus today. Almost every store you come to is like closed and it has like black wreaths in the windows. A lot of people closed early. Like they're transporting almost 2,000 bodies.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot it was that many bodies.
Yeah.
Oh, God, horrible.
So, this is the decimation of a generation, like I said, of especially men, but also a lot of women in the age bracket between 20 and 30. And in a city such as Whitestone, like, we're talking maybe like 10% of the population is in the guard, and about half the guard died. So that's like 5% of the population. Everyone knew someone who died. Everyone.
Ouch.
If it wasn't your sister, your brother, your son, your daughter, then it was your cousin or your cousin's child, or like everyone knows someone who died. Most people knew multiple.
Telesh?
Here's the voice. Yes?
What happened here?
Oh, you don't know. You arrived afterwards.
Yes.
Well, there was a fight, to put it simply, before you came. Whitestone didn't suffer many losses there, but afterwards, when we chased the one behind it, we were met by I believe something akin to a firelight primordial, who pretty much decimated most of their forces. So, the city, in my absent mindedness, I forgot, is probably mourning right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was pretty bad. It wasn't a fight where you had a chance of defending yourself. It was just destruction. You just died. That's it.
They were buried under a mountain of ash.
Yep, pretty much.
Alive.
Oh.
And then they died. from suffocation.
Suffocation and the warm ash as well probably didn't help.
So, do you think they need help?
Probably. Since this, today at least, is a fool's errand. Well, it could be a good idea to help, because I believe they need all the help they can get at this point.
Yeah. Shall we?
Let's. No reason sticking around here where we do no good.
Just like, I don't think this has ever been mentioned, but Whitestone itself is a city with a population of about 25,000 people. With the surrounding areas, maybe 50,000 people belong to the Whitestone region. 2,000 people,
Vanished.
yeah, overnight. All within the same age bracket. I need to...
Well, the soil's gonna be phenomenal in a couple years.
Fucking bleak. Like, a lot of people are helping with transporting the bodies, and a lot of people are helping digging graves.
Will help wherever need be.
Yeah, is there anything where I can use my brain and not my +1 strength? Like
No.
maybe healing, little infirmary in case anyone throws out their back.
You're my jock buddy. I need you with me.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you have the move Earth?
I can make water.
Make water. That doesn't really help. It's raining. It's pouring down. It's been raining since you came. It's one of those, like, it's spring, so it's like constantly raining. There are plenty. You can cast regenerate, right?
Yes.
Yes. There's absolutely a need for that. Like, a lot of, like, the few people that survive, a lot of them had, like, massive burns.
I'll just regenerate parts then.
Tolesh, you've been abandoned in your time of need.
First Riven, now Brooke.
I mean, she just went to the infirmary. Calm your shit. But okay.
But yeah, Tolesh would. I mean, he excels at this. He can carry bodies and dig graves.
You do see a couple of people that you know, like, vaguely from being around the city. You do see Sam. He's helping dig grave. Like, hands bleeding. Probably been at it all day. But, you know, one does what one can.
What a good kid.
He is a good.
He's a good kid. He'll grow up and conquer the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like all good kids do.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, and all of you, by the time nightfall rolls around, all of you are exhausted. Between, like, the mental strain of casting high-level spells, and just the mood of loss and sadness that permeates Whitestone at the moment, and the hard menial labor of carrying the dead. They're not putting in graves. They're all taken to the temple of Pelor. There's going to be a ceremony on Earth Day where they will be taken to their final resting place. But for now, they're all taken to the Temple of Pelor. And as darkness finally falls, I think most of you are just weary. It's been a homecoming, but not a very triumphant one. A sense of loss and sadness just echoes through everything that is happening. People greet you, welcome you as friends. They're very happy to see you, but a lot of people lost someone, and there's always like, even if people would never say why, it's sort of hanging in the air, like, why did you survive and not my child? Why did you survive and not my brother? And as night falls and the light fades out, people head back to their homes. The mostly human population of Whitestone is not great in the dark.
True.
Maya's away.
Yep.
Palesh, you do have an offer of room at the Grey Hunt.
Definitely going to accept that, because, well, he has nowhere else to go. Well, he has an
Yeah.
inn. Meh.
No, they
Right.
did. Like, you did take membership with them.
Yeah,
You know.
exactly.
Before you left, so you have a room there. Jimorn, I think you realize at some point, like as you're heading home, you haven't seen Brooke since you left the library, and don't really know if she has a place to stay.
Well, I haven't seen her, so odds are
I mean, you might
wasn't
have.
doing. Would I have heard about where she was? Because, I mean, if everybody in the town is doing this and she's missing, there's only probably a couple of places that she could have even possibly been.
Yeah, I mean, like, you haven't seen her, but, like, you're doing this work with, like, helping transport people, and I feel like there's enough people talking about the strange dark-skinned man who's at the temple, helping fix people.
Yeah, I would go and find her and offer my house, or if she wants to stay at the Grey Hunt, she's welcome there too. But whatever she's comfortable with.
I would like to stay at the Grey Hunt. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, I'll take her to the Grey Hunt and show her around a bit and introduce her to people. Are all the rest of the people there now?
Yes. Everyone has returned. Willis, Kana, Valeria Riker, Vanya, and Alan are all there.
Then yeah, I would make my introductions and let her do her own thing. I do want to talk to Willis just briefly before I leave.
Yeah, he's wearing like a slightly grim face. It's a face that you've seen a lot today. The generic "why does everything go to shit" face.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can catch him.
It's okay. Yeah, never mind. He doesn't sit on the council.
No.
Okay. Okay, that's okay. That's still fine. I see you have a few new faces here. That's good.
Yeah, a lot. See, you brought in another one.
Yeah, more than another one.
Your friend of yours?
She has been, yeah. We just met very recently, but he's extremely helpful.
We'll put her in with Talash. No offense, but we have a lot of new recruits, and well, you weren't using your room, and Maya wasn't using hers either, so we kind of gave them away.
Yeah, no, that's... I hope that you would. As nice as it is to have a place, I have long been feeling like I should have been moved out to make room for the new. Especially imports, as I take it. Some of them are.
Yeah. Well, good news is we won't be lacking for men in the guard. Feels like fucking half of Tal'Dorei showed up.
Really?
Yeah.
Pledge to Whitestone.
Yeah, a lot of people came up from Thirstfields. And then Westruun and Kaimal. Even a couple of elves came.
That's unusual.
Unlike Emon, we've always had a good relationship with the elves. The death of the Baron soured it somewhat, but truth is, with things being the way they are, we pretty much need every help we can get.
Yeah.
Pickers can't be choosers.
No, that's true. Well, you know that you can count on me to
I know.
help the new ones any way that I can.
And even though we gave away your room, you always have a place here. Like across the room, like where a couple of the new recruits is sitting, someone like bursts out laughing, but like very quickly, like, oh no. You know, it's like laughing at a funeral, like
Right.
that was a mistake. Yeah.
Do they look like stupid little baby children like we did when we showed up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cute.
It's adorable, really.
Yeah. They don't know the true horrors that await them.
Young and full of zeal and pep and optimism and all that bullshit. You do see Sam kind of hanging out, like he works here.
Yeah.
Like he sleeps at yours and Zara's house, but he normally spends a lot of his days here.
Good. Okay. He's around good people.
Yes. Brooke. The room is large and filled with people. A couple, like the people who approach you and talk to you, are generally like on the older spectrum of this room. Like there's a lot of 20-year.
Oh.
You're introduced to Kana, a Marquesian woman. And Vanya, a red-headed woman in her mid-30s, sort of takes you under her wing and shows you around. And she's very like to the point, like, that's Jamie, he's new and he's trouble, stay away from him. That's Vera, she's new, but she seems nice. She's around your age, so, and she's from the south. There's maybe 40 people in this room. And a lot of them, seem quite young. The people who are listed under the Grey Hunt is pretty much the leadership, and they are basically the people who have been here for more than 2 years. And then they recruited the original party, but like the news of this devastation has definitely increased recruitment by quite a bit. There's a lot of new faces.
And Brooke's one of them.
Yep. Which in one way is it, like, everyone is quite nice and welcoming, and it's like, oh, you're new, like, we're new too. Well, I've been here for 2 days, so I've been here, like, the longest out of the new people.
I'm
Sit
the
down.
most senior.
Yeah. So, like, you're kind of swept up in all these people. They come from diverse backgrounds. Like, there's everything from, like, young, low nobles trying to make a name for themselves. Your typical kind of like, I'm going to go on a great adventure and write a story about it and get rich.
Hey!
But there's also a lot of like, my pa's of a farmer and my older brother's the one who's gonna inherit the farm, so seems like there was a call for people. I ain't much, but I am people.
Oh.
Like
Sweet little
salt,
things.
yeah, like salt of the earth kind of people who's like, I heard there was need, so I But yeah, you soon enough find like a group of people who are friendly and eager to talk, and once like news comes out that you arrived on the airship, they're like filled with questions about what happened, and
Oh, this is my favorite.
very disappointed when they realize you weren't there at the actual battle, but still, like, third-hand information is better than no information.
So Brooke's making friends.
She is. And, like, I feel like Brooke is one of those people who has, like, that intensity about her, which can be unnerving. The good thing about having a room full of people who are all eager to make friends is, like, there's never too much because like you're swept from group to group, and at this point it like you kind of mellow out by like the fact that there's so many people all trying to get to know one another.
Right.
So people are like, oh yeah, that's Brooke. I know Brooke. And I feel like just part of it is probably the fact that like you've been thrust into this like new country with new rules, and you're eager and you want to be good at stuff and on it and like on the ball, which can come off as like a little strong sometimes, especially when you meet your idol and you have a chance to talk to her. But all of these people are new, trying to find their place in the world, and like here you kind of fit right in.
Brooke is so happy.
And everyone's sort of like excited at this new chapter of, even if they're somber for the losses that caused them to be here in the first place. And people are like, oh, you know what I heard? I heard in the a big mercenary force came on the ship. People, real fancy armor, I hear. And someone's like, oh, you don't know shit. I heard that they're an elite force that were sent by one of the ancient families. And someone's like, yeah, people are telling stories. Like, someone told me that they were angels. Good one. There's a lot of rumors.
And Brooke has the worst poker face in the world.
Like shifty-eyed.
No, just like, you know when you play poker with a little kid and they have what they think is the winning hand, so they sit there with a shit-eating grin like,
yeah,
keep talking. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Hey, Brooke, do you know, like, you came on the airship, right?
Yeah.
Did you meet the mercenaries?
Yeah.
Do you know who they work for?
Well, I know they're all couples.
The mercenaries?
Yeah.
Is it like a gangbang situation?
No, it's like they have partners.
Really?
Yeah, and like they're super serious, and like they fight together as partners. It's crazy.
That's like so fucking weird. Is that like some weird Wildmount thing?
I don't know. I think it's romantic.
And everyone here who's like in the fighting force about to fight together sort of look at one another and be like, yeah, no, that's not romantic at all. Like at this point they're shoved like 5-6 people to a room and everyone's smelling each other farts and stuff, and they're like, no.
Well, have you seen them?
I mean, I saw some of them from like pretty far away when they landed. They looked mighty fancy with their uniforms were gleaming like gold.
They're all perfect. Like just the most beautiful people you could think.
Are you sure it's not like an orgy situation?
I wish.
Damn, me too. So, Brooke.
Mm-hmm.
You single?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Do you know what room you're sleeping in?
Not yet, I don't think.
With the big fucking dragon.
Yeah, we're in the sea room. So, like... You know. We can make room for you if you want.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like an origin situation.
Are you sure?
I mean, not yet.
I'm just saying, if I walk in there and everyone is naked, I'm probably going to leave.
Okay, ixnay on the nakedness in the first week. Gotcha. Hey, Brooke, do you know that they have baths here?
They do?
Yeah, like holy bath. Like
Oh.
blessed water, baths of healing.
Blessed by what god?
Like one of the berry ones, I think.
I don't think I would get in trouble. Right?
No, I mean... Apparently, like, people sneak in at night. And, like, they don't really care. And we were thinking, like, tonight we're gonna see what's that about. You wanna come with?
That sounds like fun.
Alrighty. Well, and like a lot of people are exchanging looks, and yeah, meet her at 10.
Okay.
Like, it happened one time.
Yes. It
And-
happened.
You got laid.
True, that is positive.
By Jamorn's sister.
Yes.
It wasn't Tolesh. It was
It wasn't-
another. It was another character.
Yep. Oh, that would have been very
I mean, it
awkward.
would have been hilarious if, like, you were pining after Sigrid and then you sort of, like, unleashed your, you know, pining on Constance for a night. I just want to see Jamorn as, like, you impugned my sister's honor.
That would have been a chase through Whitestone. Ah!
It would have been hilarious.
It would have been good fun.
Um,
I'm just happy
Yeah.
my cute little sheltered temple kid is having some fun, getting wild.
yeah, and, like, at 10 o'clock in the evening, a group, maybe 10 people, sneak out. Someone picks the lock, and there is a public bath. There are, like, hot springs, so it's naturally heated throughout the year. And everyone's, like, skinny dipping and having a good time, and there's a lot of splashing of water, and you feel that you and the room C lot have, like, you have a bond. Now,
Yeah.
you're friends. You've made friends.
Yeah.
Now I have to make everyone in room C and name them. God damn it. They're all going to be, like, young adventurers, too. It's gonna be hilarious.
All babes.
Level
all
3
super
adventurers,
hot.
all of them.
And then next session, we hear that they have all been brutally murdered by a group of goblins. Oh,
What a shame.
yeah.
One has his arm ripped off by a pack of
5
bugbears.
bugbears.
They were gonna go into this
Five
lost
bugbears come
mine.
out of
I think it
nowhere.
was called Sandelver.
Jamorn, I assume you eventually head home to your 8-month pregnant wife.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I think Sam sort of tags along with you when you leave.
Sure.
And you walk in silence through the gates and start heading up the road to Zara's house. You gonna leave again?
I may have to at some point. If I'm being honest, I assume that I will have to.
Well, if you have to leave, I'll keep an eye on Zara and the babies for you.
Thanks, Sam. You did a great job this time.
He sort of shrugs in that very teenager way that's like, I can't handle a fucking compliment.
Yeah.
Connie's been visiting a lot while you were gone.
That's good.
I mean, she's nice or whatever.
Uh-huh. Yeah, nice. That's a word. I don't know how often it's been used to describe my sister by too many people, but she definitely is.
She brings food and stuff. Sometimes.
Well,
I think she's spying on Zara.
Think she's spying on her?
Mm-hmm.
Why might she be doing that?
Like, not in a bad way, but like, whenever Zara's like, her back hurts or she's really tired, those tends to be the day that she kind of shows up. She cooked too much food.
She's resourceful, that's for sure. We're all lucky to have people like you and Connie looking out for us.
Yeah, whatever.
So you've been spending a lot of time at the Grey Hunt, huh?
No offense, but Georgie's friends kind of freak me out.
Yeah, it's okay.
I get that it's a secret and all. And I ain't told anyone about her. Not gonna tell anyone about her. But she leaves dead things in my room sometimes.
Well, I will talk to her about that. I'm sure it's not on purpose.
I mean, I know it's not on purpose. It's just annoying.
Yeah.
when they're bleeding all over the bed.
Well, okay, yeah. Why are they bleeding, though?
They're like oozing stuff.
Oh. Should probably learn more about this.
Yeah. It's creepifying.
Well, you know, when the time comes, I can always put in a word with Willis. If you're interested in joining the hunt.
I might. He says I gotta be 16 before I can even try out.
It's true. That doesn't mean that, you know, you can't prepare ahead of time a little bit.
I know. Jor's been helping me with my knife throwing.
Good. Well, if there's ever anything I can do, I know I haven't been around, but I want to be, and when I'm here, I'm always available.
I know.
Good.
Just she cries sometimes.
Sarah?
Yeah, when she thinks we can't hear her. Thinks she's scared.
I think we're all scared.
You can sort of see the I ain't scared, but he's like, we're all scared. He's growing as a person.
Oh.
And yeah, night falls and you all find your respective bunks for the night. Brooke, you've been told that you are rooming with Talash. There are 2 beds in the room. Which is a luxury since you know that most of the other room have like 4 people sleeping in them.
Oh, so we're favorites, is what I'm getting out of that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
They mainly felt bad about putting a bunch of children in Talash's room, afraid that he might murder them.
They would have been woken up real early and had to go through a training regime that may or may not have lasted 8 hours.
Yep. They kind of need these recruits. And as morning dawns on the 26th, unless any of you have any other stuff that you wanted to specifically get done that evening.
No.
No.
I mean, I still go to the bath.
Yeah.
But that's not.
It's exactly like what you would picture if this campaign was a 1950s youngins doing naughty things that probably seemed really bad at the time, but then everyone grows up and they're like, oh, kids.
That was cute.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Today is Water Day, which is fitting since it's still pouring down. It's basically April. April showers. Those are a thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, spring Mayflowers.
Which is great unless you're being colonized.
Right.
So, any plans for today?
Yes.
Brooke wants to try to work out with Telesh in the morning.
Yes.
Sweet summer child.
Good luck.
Wonderful.
There is a training field behind the Greyhound. Pretty big. It has like targets and like these straw-filled like targeting dummies. Plenty of weaponry. I'm just gonna say that I have 113 archived maps.
Oh,
So sometimes it takes me like a moment. Brooke,
yes.
Plush.
Yes.
How does this workout look?
Oh. Obviously, you wake up to a good and healthy breakfast, whereafter you go out and warm up with just standard exercises, whereafter you go on to do a bit heavier stuff and target practice and murdering all of the targets they have. Because they don't last long for reasons.
Brooke does her best. Is what Brooke's doing.
Brooke has crazy high AC. Like, she's been in combat once or twice. She has some skills. Actually, like we're not gonna do like a full-on thing, but why don't each of you roll me an attack? Like, as you're sparring. Let's get a sense of like who's impressive.
It's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Where is that? That is there. Please don't be a crit. Thank you. Your soul is mine.
You missed.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, your AC is high. That flail is like boing.
Why is it only rolling strength and not like the weapon damage?
I don't know, but that's hilarious.
Yeah. You haven't added it in correctly. It should be a 1d8, I think, for the whale.
Yep.
Oh. The dragon drop has failed me again.
You failed me for the last time.
But yeah, by the end of 8 hours, like once dinner time starts rolling around, you've amassed quite a crowd of onlookers. Everyone from room C is like cheering on Brooke. like this is the kind of fight where like you're like tagging your opponent, like marking a hit and not doing actual damage. But it's one of those like Tolesh obviously has the brute strength to like truly decimate Brooke on the hits that he gets, but she's a wily motherfucker and
I'm
proving
slippery like a fish.
yeah, proving hard to land hits on. Whereas she's more of the like float like a butterfly, sting like a bee kind of fighter that's like weaving and dodging your hits while landing a few of her own. Like she's a poke champ. And you're Alistair.
Fitting.
Yes.
More like
yeah.
Scion, considering he doesn't die anymore.
I die once the minute runs out.
Yeah, eventually.
Then I die. But at that point, I can hopefully have killed whatever stands before me.
You don't die. Quit your lying.
Yeah.
I do.
And at around dinner time, Maya returns from Iman. I don't know what she is going to do, but Brooke, I feel like there's definitely like this kinship that you have with a group from Room C that sort of like you went out and did naughty things yesterday, and then they're all like super cheer. Like a couple of the other rooms are definitely cheering for Talash, like mainly because he's a member and like of a higher rank than they are.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, "Yay, the boss! Good job, boss! Cool, yeah." Whereas Room C is like, Brooke. Jamorn, what are you doing over the course of the day?
I would like to talk to Laurentia.
Mm-hmm.
Or Brandon, actually. Either one of them is fine. I just want to talk to them about getting access beneath the keep. And explaining that, like, we may have business at the Ziggurat, but I don't know yet. But just making sure that would be okay with them.
Yeah, for once, you actually deal with Brandon.
Yeah.
Laurentia has been, like, super busy. Like, she's basically chief of morale in Whitestone right now.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, like, packing baskets for the family, the bereaved families, and, you know, distributing aid where needed. But yeah, like, he definitely, like, he informs you that the council needs to be informed. He will take care of that.
Okay.
And at this point, like, you've earned their trust, and the Ziggurat, like, he does warn you, it's dangerous. No one's been down there for 100 years. Like, it was sealed off and forgotten about. They worked on it for a while, but it's dangerous. There's acid down there. It's maze-like. But he does give you plans.
Okay.
So you do have, like, a general idea of where you want to go.
What we should expect, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So what you do know is, as you enter, there's like a the main hallway into the has collapsed. So you kind of have to go in through a secondary way. So there's like a little bit of a climb. Like nothing you guys couldn't handle. But then there are maze-like rooms, and then you have to cross a section that is like filled with acid before arriving at the ziggurat.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's really all the business that I have with him. I also want to find Jenna.
Yeah?
And check in and see how she's doing.
She's not great. There's definitely an element of guilt there.
Yep.
It was her call. And a lot of people died. But she's pale, skinnier than she was a month ago. Like she's probably not been sleeping or eating well.
Okay.
But dead fast.
Okay. And who is actually in charge of the guard? Is it Corwin?
Yeah. Well, Corwin isn't really in charge of the guard. Like, he's more in charge of the army / your sort.
I guess that's more what I meant. Like, who's in charge of, like, the people that were lost the most?
Anton Valles.
Okay, that's right.
He's also one of the dead. No one has been reappointed in his...
Oh, he's dead.
Yeah. He came with the soldiers and he died. And I think this is the first time you're hearing about it. That he is actually among the dead.
Wow, okay. So that's... Huh. Well, then maybe I would be best talking to Jenna still. It's gonna take some time to rebuild that army, but there's gonna come a point where I'm going to want to be in Whitestone full time, and I think it's quickly approaching. And I would be willing to help to train the new incoming guard, army, whomever.
I know. Brandon has taken on the responsibility in the interim. The council does not have plans to appoint anyone to that position for the moment. Your name came up.
Well, I mean, I would accept that if that ends up being the council's decision.
Like I said, the time is quickly approaching. For now, Brandon will hold down the fort with Corvin's help. Just make sure you survive.
So far, so good.
Don't make those famous last words, Jimon.
Yeah. We'll see. Funeral's tomorrow, right?
Yep.
You know, if you need someone to go with you.
The council is all going together. We'll lead the procession. You should be at the church.
At the church?
Temple of Dolor?
Oh, right.
Just one more day. And then maybe the healing can begin.
Let's hope so. Seems as though a
I
lot of people
do.
turned up.
Yeah. Like we didn't have enough to do.
Always more. I just wanted to check in on you.
I'll survive. Which is more than
Believe.
can be said for a lot of others. We're Whitestonians. We come out the other end.
Most of the time.
Yeah. Most of the time.
I'm going to attempt to give her a hug. For those of you who have not been in the campaign for very long,
this is
don't
dangerous.
understand the weight
Wendy
of this
Hunter.
decision between Jenna and I.
I slept in a mansion.
She's almost like a bird. Like, she's one of those people who doesn't, promote much hugging
Yeah.
or touchy-feeliness. But when you hug her, like, she doesn't resist, but she doesn't really, like, oh, yay, we're hugging.
Right.
She's even skinnier than you thought. Like, she's always been a slender woman, and a month of, like, not sleeping well or eating has
Yeah.
obviously taken a toll. And she's almost, like, trembling a little bit. But eventually she does kind of like soften. It's not really like she she doesn't embrace you, but it's like she's sort of leaning into you.
Yeah.
And after a few moments, she pulls away.
That's a major success. Okay. Well, you know where to find me. I'm not going anywhere today. But if you need anything. And I will leave her and go home, where I will do whatever my family wants to do for the rest of the day.
So a lot of feet rubbing, horseback rides, and making dinner.
Yes.
It is gloriously domestic. And at dinner time, Maya has returned from whatever she was doing in Oman. Where do you go? Who do you see once you return?
I'm available if people want to talk, but I know Saranthia also took the loss of all these Whitestonians really hard, so I just want to be there for her, especially as the funeral looms.
Yeah. You find Saranthia at the temple. And there are just rows and rows and rows and rows of bodies. They're all dressed in white and wreathed in red cloth. And the acolytes and the clerics, and there's a lot of women here, sort of tending to the dead. They're pristine. Magic has been used so that they don't decay or rot before they get put into the earth. And most of them don't have a mark on them. A lot of these people died from suffocation.
Right, being buried in soot and ash, right.
So a lot of them literally look like they're sleeping. And as you're walking in, they're wreathing the last of them in this red cloth.
Saranthia?
Maya.
How are you doing?
It's almost done.
Yes, almost.
They're she's not crying, but she's definitely been holding back tears throughout the course of the day. There's that unmistakable redness around her eyes.
I'm just gonna drape my arms around her and just say, I'm sorry I wasn't here.
I know.
Is there anything I can get for you?
No, you being here is all I can ask for.
All right.
Will you be with me tomorrow?
I will. The whole day through.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And she sort of takes your arm as the clerics and the acolyte wreath the last of the bodies. You walk out of the temple together. And it's one of those like evenings when everyone's mood is somber. For all of you. Not a lot is being said. Not a lot of conversation is being had. At the Grey Hunt, someone who gets like uncomfortable when there's too much quiet, like clears their throat on occasion, but there's a lot of like a couple of whispered conversations, but a lot of people like nursing a drink, looking morose. And even at Jamorn's and Zara's house, after the kids have been put to sleep and you go to bed, there's a lot of just clinging to one another. Sort of reassuring yourself that you're here and they're here and you're gonna make it through. And sleep comes late, but to everyone. And as Earth Day rolls around, the morning is mostly spent with people being very careful with one another. I think everyone's emotions are a little bit raw. Everyone's nerves are a little bit on the outside of their skin. And by noon, everyone makes their way towards the sun tree and the square outside the temple. By the time you get there, the rain that has been drenching Whitestone has finally slowed down to a mere trickle. But the skies are still gray and overcast. You can see the council all gathered on the edges of the stairs leading up to the Temple of Pelor. And there is a huge crowd of people, like 30,000 people, that fill up the square, as well as the streets leading towards the cemetery. And at noon, the doors to the temple finally open. The first person that you see is Sinley. And flanked behind her are what remains of the White Stone Guard, as well as acolytes of Pelor. And together they lift one of the wreathed bodies in red. And the crowd reaches for the body. And as the wreathing is unfurled, the crowd sort of carries the body, passing from one hand to another as it travels towards the cemetery. Like a float on an ocean of people. And as soon as one has set sail on their final journey, another body joins them. It goes on for hours. Even if only a few minutes is spent on their journey, there are just so many of them. People's hands start aching with the weight. And still it goes on. Body after body after body. As nightfall comes, torches are lit. And like a river, the bodies don't stop flowing. And that's where we're going to take our break.
Oof.
On a river of corpse.
the dead have been moved to their final resting place. Dawn has already arrived at Whitestone. So it's a weary bunch that finds their rest at last. And by the time most of you awaken, it's well past noon. What would you like to do?
Get lunch with everyone, maybe? So no one's alone unnecessarily. And we can just kind of touch base.
So much food.
Yeah, probably organize something at the Grey Hunt.
A luncheon, Grey Hunt.
Yeah, you know, I'm kind of thinking that, like, it's spring now, and stuff can be done outdoors. Maybe not at the Grey Hunt, maybe around the Sun Tree. Like, I think that I would probably... Is it sunny, rainy?
It's a little bit overcast, but it's no longer raining. Much like the picture. Like, there are these occasional patches of dark clouds, and then a little bit of blue sky, and then some white clouds, and then some dark clouds. Mainly overcast.
I think that I would probably talk to Zara the night before, and see how she felt about all this, but I think it would be good to maybe take my whole family up to the Grey Hunt and talk to them there about coming out to the Sun Tree, and, like, I mean, we can use the Grey Hunt's kitchen because it's enormous and just, like, bring things down there or whatever. But, like, in an open space where a lot of people who, like, might have just been going out to get flour or something and weren't planning on, you know, interacting or whatever, just so that people can see other people, and share some time that isn't the middle of a funeral. But just kind of, like... Not kickstarting, really, because I mean, it's a slow process that'll take time, but just, I don't know, just a symbolic statement that, like, yep, this happened, and we're here, and, like, it's gonna be okay. We'll help each other.
And the added benefit of the Grey Hunt is that you now have, like, 40 unpaid interns there to man the kitchens as well.
Right.
And yeah, like, it's like noon by the time you get up, and most people of Whitestone get up. Like, people left, put children into bed, and then returned again. So, like, most people have not had, like, they got by on the bare minimum of sleep.
Yeah.
And by the time you sort of start having dishes prepared, it's maybe like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And yeah, you make your way to the Sun Tree, and so do most of the other people at the Grey Hunt, bringing, like, you know, what you would bring to a potluck.
Yeah.
And there are, like, there's always tables. Most of them were, like, shoved to the edges yesterday, just because of the crowd of people.
Yeah.
But the Greyhound get busy pulling them back so they circle the tree the way they normally do. And it doesn't take long before, like, word of mouth has definitely like Zara knows people, the women of the Grey Hunt knows a lot of like mothers, and someone let it leak to the acolytes at the temple, so like they've all been making some stuff over the course and start bringing out food. And it's like a steady trickle of people that just start showing up. Soon the tables are all filled up, and people are bringing like blankets and sitting down picnic style. And it in no way matches the massive crowd that was here yesterday, but the square is soon filled up with people. Everyone bringing something and sharing with other people, talking. Some of these people obviously lost someone. You hear like someone crying, other people comforting them, someone telling a funny story about like when this one guy was 8, he wanted to wear a hat, and then he found this amazing hat in his parents' bedroom and then put it on his head, and it turned out that, you know, it was their bedpan. Oops.
Right.
And someone laughs, and it's like a little bit forced, but also in the, you know, you've been crying for so long, just feeling another emotion is
Exactly
such a relief. And the mood is, it's somber, but it's definitely more in like, we're moving forward as a community, we're healing.
Yes.
We have buried our dead. It's time to move on.
Good. This was the goal. I think, I mean, I would probably just carry on there all night, and like temperature depending. And depending on how many people are there, like you don't know how long people need that. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be the one that disengages the hug because you don't know how long that hug needs to last for somebody who's grieving. And so like I'd just be there. Like, we can sleep outside, like the kids won't mind. Like, it's camping kind of, sort of, but unless it's freezing, in which case like I don't want to put anybody in danger. But if there's still people around that are like, oh yeah, this person is lingering and really won't stop talking, like, they probably need somebody to listen, so I would stay.
Yeah, I think it does go on quite into the early hours of the evening, until like darkness becomes more pervasive than the light. People are tired. Like, most people got like 4 to 6 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
So but pretty much everyone stops by, even if they don't stay for very long. Some people just aren't ready yet. And for others, it's just a little bit too much right now. But a lot of people find comfort in the shared experience.
It's good. Sure, at some point Maya would have started doodling on her violin, trying to just, I don't know, what do you play after a funeral, that like probably pretty hopeful repertoire.
Yeah, and some people will ask for like songs that maybe aren't, you know, hit in that core emotion of like, but very often it was like, oh, do you know that like this was my
Right.
boy's favorite, or this was this was the song that we played at our wedding, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I want to do for people.
And yeah, but by the end of it, I feel like just as the sky are starting to clear up, the emotional state of Whitestone is improving. This is the kind of setback and loss that will obviously leave its mark for generations to come, but you see a lot of people like doing like a fist over heart gesture, which is like the greeting that the Whitestone Guard does.
Hmm.
And you can sort of get the sense that this is something that like it's going to add into what is the culture of Whitestone in the future. Like this is when shit gets real, this is how we deal with it.
Right.
Together.
Everyone's a Whitestone Guard now.
Exactly.
I also think that we should check in on Io, because we haven't really done that. But see where she's at. Like, in physical location as well as like, hey, how are things going? What's your schedule like for the next couple months?
Yeah. You find Io at the graveyard.
Oh, okay.
There were all these mounds, just rows and rows and rows and rows and rows and rows of graves, all freshly dug, all black soil. And she's sort of like moving between them, like putting her hand on each of them as she's walking.
Hmm. It's a lot of people.
She looks up at you and yes, it is.
You know, they ended up this way so that you could be here.
No. No, they didn't. They ended up here so that this would be here. And she sort of gestures towards the city.
I hope that that's what they believed. And I hope even more that they're right.
Me too.
So what are your plans?
I don't know. Find my sister.
Ayun.
Yeah.
Is there a specific reason? Apart from her being your sister and wanting to see her, I'm sure.
I missed her. I can't feel her the way I always used to. It worries me.
She still has temples.
You know? One of them is close.
Do you think that visiting it would help?
It certainly wouldn't harm. Have you ever met her?
No, I don't think so.
You'd like her.
I'm sure
Funny.
I would.
If you could get her to play cards with you, she has the worst poker face.
I understand she's very honest.
To a fault.
Sometimes I can be too.
Yes, me as well.
I don't know how long I can help you.
I don't know how long I will need your help for.
That's fair. I'm trying to keep everything in perspective, and I know how important your work, or our work, whatever it is supposed to be, but I have a lot of other important things that need me to.
That is good. It means he's still clamoring for power. If you ever start feeling like nothing matters, like there's no point to it, that probably means he's closer. Have you ever felt like that, Jamon?
There's no point?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Well, once we find the people that do feel like that, we'll find him too. And as you're talking, like, she's still moving through the cemetery, just putting a hand on every single mound of dirt.
Is anything happening with it, or is she just, like, touching it?
She's just touching it.
Okay.
And it's like, the dirt is wet. Like, it's been raining for days. And it's freshly told earth. So it's like, you know, it sort of sticks to her hand, and then eventually, like, little lumps of it falls off, but she just, like, keeps pressing her hand against every amount of dirt as you move past it. And, like, as you walk in silence, it takes hours. There's so goddamn many fucking graves.
Yeah.
She tells you, like, stories. Most of them, like, not very, like, she tells you a story about her and Ayun getting into trouble, trying to hide something, and Ayun, with her, like, compulsive need to tell the truth, like, gagging on her secrecy.
Sure.
And what they were trying to keep secret was, like, someone had stolen a pig as a lark, and it was supposed to be a joke, but Ayun almost choked to death because she was, like, incapable of lying about it.
Like the Hatfields and McCoys. It can start a generation-wide family feud. A pig.
Yeah. And then, like, just tidbits, stories, people that you've never heard about. Like, this view reminds me of a place that I've never seen before, and you're like, oh, I've never heard of that place. And she's like, oh, yeah, you should have seen it. Beautiful. Was beautiful. I hear they built a city there. It was so pretty to begin with. I don't understand why they did it. And you'll be like, well, you know, someone probably built the city there because it was a lovely view. And she's like, yeah, good point. It was so much prettier before they built the goddamn city.
They paved paradise and put up a parking lot.
Exactly. And yeah, you're just walking through the graves until eventually you come to the end of a row. And she draws a deep sigh and looks back at her work. And together you walk away.
Very pretty.
Is my favorite flower. It's the European wood anemone.
Ooh.
And they flower in April and May.
I like them.
Mm-hmm.
They flower around here. Mainly in May, because I live in the goddamn fucking Arctic.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, I think until Aya was like, hey, let's go to this temple, like, and I'm talking as long as that takes, I think Jam's pretty much, if the Greyhunt calls him, or like some of the new recruits need something that he can provide, or something with the army, you know, errand stuff, unless he's called upon, he's just gonna be at home, like, getting ready for these kids, because it's probably going to happen pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Like, within a matter of weeks.
And I think about a week passes, in which you're all free to do, like, everyone's trying to, like, navigate this new reality. There's a lot of work that needs to be done throughout Whitestone. A lot of hands that are missing. Generally, people sort of like step up, go out of their way to be, you know, helpful and friendly towards their neighbor. Keeping the need for law and order to a bare minimum, but this is not a permanent state of affair. Eventually, people are going to go back to being people. Like, you remember the Las Vegas shootings? I mean, of course,
yes,
it happened 2 years ago, but
yes.
I was in Vegas the week after. And everyone was super nice, and everyone was like Vegas strong.
Yeah.
Like, and like it was the same here after the July 22nd shooting.
Yeah.
Like, there was like a month maybe where people were just so gentle because everyone was sort of hurting. But eventually people go back to being assholes, and that's a good thing because it means that things are getting back to normal again.
Right.
But yeah, there's definitely that kind of tone. And you do have 1 week of downtime. So what would you like to do with that week?
I mean, I already said what I'm doing. I guess if, like, everybody, if, like, during nap times, maybe, I would work on, actually, like, I was doing those designs on the airship, like, trying to make improvements or re-engineer some pieces, but now I have a workshop to do it with, so I would probably, that would be my week of downtime until anybody woke up, and then I would just be with them.
Yeah. Zara naps a lot. Like, she's tired all the time. Like, she's so ready to get these babies out of the motherfucking way. Like, she's huge.
Yep.
In the way that only someone carrying twins can be, you know, huge. Maya, what are you doing?
I think Maya's mostly a homebody in this week. I think she's going to start penning I'm going to start penning my manuscript.
Your Magnus
play.
Opus.
Yeah. I always do some rough drafts of different scenes.
Yeah. Give me a performance check.
Okay.
Yeah, you scribble down some notes. Get started on like a little bit of costume design too. It's a tricky one because like you want to have costumes that like clearly represent who the character are and builds into and up under that. But it's also one of those, like, you don't want to make Brooke and Driven look like fish ladies. So it takes a bit of pondering. And maybe a bit of, like, liberties with the source material. Like, Halesh doesn't necessarily wear plate armor, but, like, it would look very good on stage if it did. Stuff like that. But yeah, you managed to jot down a couple of very poignant, that's how it's scenes between various characters. And you sort of, like, stop yourself in turning Saranthia into, like, an angel. Because that's also, like, a difficult thing when you're writing something that's, like, that personal and that's so close to you, not to transpose too much of your own emotions onto how characters are represented.
Right.
Tolesh, you have a week. You have 40 recruits. How are you whipping them into?
Well, obvious, that was one of the things that spending some time with the recruits, trying to teach and show them basic combat, train them so they hopefully won't end up dead within the first or second week.
Give me an intimidation check with advantage.
He's not very intimidating. He's such a sweet guy.
I know, but like, you're gonna have to be censored. Yeah.
Listen.
No, they love you,
friends.
Like, you're very sincere in what you're doing, but you're also, like, you never yell at them when they're like, "Oh, it really hurts. And I think he did something to my shoulder." So,
you're the
like,
Bob Ross of drill instructor.
Yes, you are the Bob Ross of drill instructor. It's like, oh, look at this.
No
happy
mistakes,
little
just
tree.
happy accidents.
Yeah, look at this happy little tree. It's just, like, peeking out from the shadows. It's a little bit of mist.
Just punch the happy tree.
Poof, poof, poof. That little bit of magical mist in the background.
Oh, that's too happy.
And you can find the goldsmith.
Yes, going to find goldsmith, jewel crafter, anything that deals with very fancy rings.
Jamorn actually can make a recommendation.
Yep, I sure can.
That's wonderful.
So can Maya. You just need to go find the Sphinx.
Yeah, I just need to go get a wish from a Sphinx. You know, Jamon, I think I'll take yours.
She's in town. An elderly gnome lady. She's kind of like, you know, Edna in The Incredibles?
Yeah.
No capes! She's like, that's ugly. No style.
Gets people killed.
So tacky.
Yes, but very good at what she does. And, like, maybe it's her tiny midget fingers, but, like, she is capable of incredibly intricate and fusing materials together that a lot of other people wouldn't be capable of.
Yeah, would be having a talk with her of making a ring, obviously, for secret. Weaving the Anther crest, but also changing it to give it a bit of draconic flair to it, so it at least has a bit of specialty to it.
You don't know very much about Dragonborn culture.
Fuck no. I know nothing.
Yeah, because like you were raised as a slave.
Yeah.
Um.
But more in the sense, like, not in the cultural Dragonborn sort, but the more physical aspect to it.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, she's quite knowledgeable
Oh.
about this. Like, she's a jewelry crafter. She crafts jewels from people from every kind of background. So she will, like, even give you, like, a couple of, like, more, like, show you example of more traditional Dragonborn work. Just to give you an idea of, like, how their kind of craft is. Where Wildmount is like quite Norse in like and I don't mean like Viking, I mean like Northern Germanic in like architecture and heraldry. The Dragonborn has a lot more like it's almost funny because like you would think they would have like harsher lines, but they have very intricate patterning. Like it's very simple but very intricate at the same time. They are quite Nordic, like runic in their heraldry and typography, but like high Viking, like mid Viking era when it was like the very squiggly kind of, not the this is a line, I have carved it into rock, like when they were doing a lot of woodworking. That is like very intricate and very pattern.
Yeah, would work with her to get something sorted out, to get ideas thrown out of materials and such. Like probably something like the main color of it being something along the ruby red sort of style, just to complement her hair. But would leave a lot of it, like, give the ideas to her, but would leave a lot of the design to her, because yeah, wedding bands and a murderous zealot barbarian really doesn't go hand in hand. It's not his specialty.
Yeah. She sort of I need to look what. I think her suggestion ends up being a variation on the Anthar crest with like a ruby in the middle. And then the crest itself being altered slightly to be more like draconic in shape, but like keeping the like 4-pointed star, but just like softening it slightly, with some intricate filigree work. Are you looking up filigree right now?
Maybe. Just, I have an idea of what it is because I've seen what, like, having it in picture in front of you is always really, really good.
So trying to make you search for this would literally be torture. But stuff like this is all like within the style. And all of this is very Norse.
It is.
Yep.
It is very, very Norse.
So it's like representing the seal in this kind of art form. Especially something along the lines of this kind of filigree, specifically. Except that it would have like the antler crest in the middle with like the ruby
middle of it, yeah.
antler. Did you guys know that my sister-in-law is a silversmith who actually took her master's degree in filigree work? Because she is. This is the kind of jewelry I know way too much about because she never shows that about it.
Nice. But very happy with the thoughts and idea and what she has in mind. So all you would ask is, how much does it cost?
Are you providing the ruby or is she?
Think she is, because I don't have one.
How big do you want the ruby to be?
Sizable, but not overdone.
Like a centimeter?
So depends on the crest itself, since it would fit in the middle. It should, size-wise, fit.
Yeah.
Instead,
so, like,
not
if
being
the
like...
crest itself is like about, I'm measuring fingers now. 1.2 centimeters, which would literally like it would cover her ring. But like not go over the edge. And that would be all of it, meaning that the ruby in the middle would probably be maybe 12 carats.
Yeah.
That would set you about 1,200.
Yeah.
About 700 for the ruby and the rest for her work.
I said 1,400.
Okay.
For her help and just her aid in general. So, I thank you.
Any enchantments are extra.
Death Ward?
Untraditional choice, but sure.
Look, when you're in our line of work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, this is standard equipment. Death Ward.
She is an artificer, so she's not capable of casting Death Ward, so you will need to be there for the casting. And it will take about 2 weeks to make the ring. She'll need you for 3 days to cast the spell and sort of locked into place.
Sure.
She'll bind she'll get the gem done first, so that your part of it can be done over the course. Because she'll lock that into the ruby. Gems hold spells easier than metal do.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's why they're used as focuses all the time.
Exactly. Outside of that, sorry.
And yeah, no, she says it will be done in 2 weeks and you can pick it up then. She'll send a message to the Greyhound. That's
Wonderful. Outside of that, spend some time actually attempting to cook for himself again instead of having everything delivered, because that's how he lived before. It's just a nice little thing for him to do, and then maybe pester Brooke a little about, hey, you're my jock buddy. Spa.
And
That's about
that
it.
leads us into Brook. You have a week. We're in a alien land filled with strange and alien people. But you have friends.
Yeah, I mean, seeing as Brooke grew up in a very regimented temple with a very strict schedule and very strict rules, I would definitely see her just kind of blending into the Grey Hunt and their structure of training and bonding with people during recess times and just taking it slow.
Yeah. And I think during the course of the week, you do go on a 2-day expedition with a bunch of the recruits, maybe 15 of them. Willis kind of tells you to hang back. You obviously have some skills. I've seen you going versus Talash. This
Right.
is a training.
I'm there if the babies need help.
Exactly. He's basically don't show off. It will hurt. It will hurt their self-esteem if you do. And it's very basic early adventuring stuff. They're sent out to deal with some predatory animals who are hounding some sheep. And it turns out to be a dragon.
Oh yeah, just a real basic mission.
Yeah. To call it a dragon would be kind of exaggerating. I mean, it is basically freshly hatched. It's a wormling.
Oh.
And in the beginning, a lot of them unsheath their swords, and Willis is kind of hanging back, do I need to intercede? And eventually an adventurer is oh shit, I know Draconic. Please, dragon, stop eating sheep. And the dragon's dude, they keep running. I'm really lost. I need some directions. And I found these white fluffy things, and I'm trying to ask them how to get home, but they just blah and run away whenever. I'm vegan. And it's all sorted without too much bloodshed. And by too much, I mean there's obviously the few of them who's really not very practiced and cut themselves on their swords and shit, but
They weren't listening.
yeah. Fortunately, you're there with cure wounds for the ones who really fucked up, or a healing word for the ones who just nudged
mass
themselves.
cure wounds friends just to show off.
Yeah. Yeah. Willis, like, what did I tell you about them not showing off?
I'm just healing.
Mm-hmm. Right. Most of them will never learn this spell.
Gives them something to strive for.
Yeah, sure. It's ambitious. There is you definitely still have like a stronger bond with the people of Room C, and they are among the groups of adventurers that are doing this mission, and partially why Willis invited you. Like, he doesn't want you to feel left out. Because it's one of those things, like you came with Jamorn, Maya, and Talash, and they're all much more settled in Whitestone than you are, Jamorn and Maya in particular. So, like, trying to make sure that you have your own circle of friends. He's sort of taking you under his wing, like a big papa bear.
Very generous.
He's a very nice man. And yeah, there's plenty of time to like hang out. Think like Jamorn probably invites everyone over for dinner at least once during the week. After Sarah is dead.
Yes.
Someone informs you it would be polite to bring a gift of flowers and or wine. That is the culturally appropriate thing to bring when you're invited to someone's house.
Nature's nice. Flowers are nice.
This is the Middle Ages. No one knows that drinking is bad for the babies. Or doing drugs.
Water Ganassi is always gonna lean towards nature.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, the week passes mostly peacefully and quiet. And then think Jamorn.
Uh-huh.
You wake up one morning. Zara's already awake. She doesn't sleep as much as she like at night. She doesn't sleep very well. Like after about 4 hours, shit starts hurting because she's carrying so much extra weight. So she's generally the first one to wake and then just napping a lot throughout the day. So you come downstairs and you find that there is a visitor.
Do I recognize the visitor?
You do. It's Io.
Oh.
She's sitting at your kitchen table having tea with your wife.
Oh. Well, that's nice. I see you've met.
Hello.
Hi.
And Sarah's kind of like looking at you like, fuck.
Right. Yeah, I'll sit down with them. Like in between them, probably.
The men of your city guard told me where I could find you.
Yeah, I hope you didn't have a hard time with it.
No. One of them walked me to your door.
Is there something we can help you with?
You needed this.
I needed what?
Time with your family.
Yeah. I haven't had much of it.
Time is something that is in short supply these days. I need to find my sister.
Okay.
You said you would help me.
Yes, I did. Like, what is the due date here? Because I'm not missing that.
Well, how do we put this? Her due date is today is the 7th. 20 days from now.
Okay.
Her due date is on the 27th. If you look at the calendar, you can see that it has a nice little asterisk to remind me when her due date is.
Okay. Yeah, I can take you to the temple here, if that would help. There's also a name that I could give you if you hope to travel. Osisa? She runs the Slayer's Take, which is in Vasselheim, I think, right? That's off the top of my head, it's in Vasselheim, yeah.
Yeah, it is in Vasselheim.
She is said to get prophecies from Ioun.
Let's go to the temple here first. It might give me some insight into how to find her.
Okay. There's an issue of getting down there. Rooms full of acid, collapsed passageways. Nothing that we can't find ways around, but it's not exactly a straight shot. Just so that you're aware.
We are resourceful people.
Are you ready to go today? We could gather everyone and...
Yes.
I thought so. Okay. I feel like I probably give Zara a look like, okay, this could be good. I imagine that we've probably talked about, like, so when are you done with this forever, for good? When will you be home all the time? That kind of thing. And basically at this point it's like, when this thing gets sorted out, and the closer we are and the faster we help her, the sooner we can just do our own thing. So this is
Yeah,
probably
and I
good.
mean, you do have a very nice druid who's currently living on the outskirts of your property.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
All right. Well, why don't you head to the Grey Hunt? I'll gather everyone else. Well, half of them will be there, and I'll find Maya.
Okay. And she sort of gets up and looks at Sarah. Thanks for the tea. Before she heads out.
Yeah, I would go find Maya then, and let her know that Io's ready to explore the temple a bit. I would fill her in on what I know, because she's not from here and maybe hasn't read about it, but like, it's an anti-magic zone. Fill her in on the acid traps, all of that kind of stuff. Just a general sense of what we should expect, and then, you know, I have the map as well.
Okay. Sounds reasonable.
Yeah. Also a history of vampires. But
Yeah.
What else is new?
right, exactly. For everything that we've seen. You know what's interesting?
No, what is?
I took 3 levels in Ranger, starting at level 6.
Mm-hmm.
And since that point, we have not fought a humanoid, which is my favorite enemy. We're now level 15.
Aw, poor baby.
It's fine. It's just funny to me. We fight a lot of monsters and undead things, and that's totally cool.
You got your favorite enemy bonus when you were shooting us because you were charmed by the vampire.
That's true. That is true. Most dangerous prey.
As you can see, it was worth it.
Yes. Alright, yeah, so I guess we would go to the Grey Hunt, unless you have stuff that you want to wrap up before we go down to the Ziggurat.
Yes, does anyone have anything to do? Any plans they would like to make? Any shopping that needs to be done? Any armors of acid resistance that needs to be bought?
I, according to my chart, am resistant.
That is true.
We should probably bring some of the divas too, right? They can fly, they could carry one of us, 2 of us. Over
How
acid
many
floors.
divas do you want to bring?
4? 2 pairs?
Okay.
That should be fine. I mean, we're not spoiling for a fight, but they're useful, and
It's just the acid room that's really got me worried.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, and like, you've done your prep, kissed your wife goodbye, and made your way up to the keep. And it's sort of like, there used to be a way in through the catacombs. But that way was kind of sealed. So now the way that you would enter, that you know from the plans that you've been given, is through the old Whitestone mine. They sort of intersect. It's a bit of a climb, but you can make it.
Are there... Sorry, are there potions of acid resistance that are available? And how much would they cost if there are? Because that may not be a bad idea for me.
Or rings or something, I don't know.
I don't want to attune to anything. My attunement slots are choice.
Yes, there are potions of acid resistance. They give you resistance to acid for an hour.
How much would they cost?
200 per pop.
Oh, okay. I'll take like 2 of them actually.
Sure.
Then.
Okay. 2.
Yeah. So, both of you get 2 of them. You stop by Gilmore, get some potions of acid resistance. And like just the prep and getting there and making sure you have all your equipment and getting your divas, a couple of hours pass.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually,
Uh-oh.
you how to say, you've been like walking through these abandoned mine shafts for about an hour.
I knew it was gonna happen. A map switch.
And
Woo!
there is see up here? There's like a little thing called the party token.
Yes.
Yeah, you can all move that, but there's only one of them. Oh yeah, fuck you and you're splitting the party kind of ways. Haha! Not today, Satan. Not today.
I like this.
You have one token. It has dark vision. You can move it. There's only one of it.
Okay, there is no lighting on the map. I will say that. Everything is visible.
Isn't? Oh, fuck. I need to push a button.
Yeah.
I put in so much work.
Yeah.
Putting in fucking dynamic lighting, too. Enforce.
There you go.
See, now,
Okay.
yeah.
Now we're good. Okay.
Yeah, I put in a lot of work drawing all these lines.
Yeah.
And by that, I mean 4 fucking hours of...
Yeah, that's, yeah. That's a very big map to dynamic.
It is a very big map.
With a lot of angles.
Circles are the fucking worst.
Yep.
But, I mean, you kind of had a map of it, so, like, you know what you were getting. It's not the worst.
And I already don't remember a single thing, so that's good. Oh, good times. Okay, so this is just like... Yeah, is it actual white stone, I take it? Along the way down? Okay.
Whitestone. So you kind of have to, as you can sort of see, there are 2 levels. So you kind of have to climb to the upper level.
Do we want to go up?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, Brooke has spoken.
Right. Well, yeah, we can climb up here, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Or, get flown up there by the divas so that we don't have to roll any check.
I mean, someone has the climbing gear.
What do we think about through here? Very carefully. Maybe we can peek in through the door. Maybe not. Let's, This looks like it's been, like, wedged open? Or stuck open?
Yeah, like, it's all whitestone and, like, there's been a small shift in the rock on the sides where you're standing, so, like, the door has kind of been forced open, so it doesn't close all the way.
Okay. I mean, my passive perception is 19, but I'm looking for traps.
I'm nowhere.
Okay.
Haven't you been here before?
No.
No, they have not.
Oh.
A whole new world.
Oh. This is merely a dead end.
There are 2 doors.
Okay.
One
Oh, I see them. Okay.
One up here.
Yeah.
The other
next to us.
And there's definitely some weird quality on here.
Okay.
Like?
Give me a perception check, Jamorn. And can I get an Arcana check from Brooke and Maya? Plus, you feel fine.
I always feel fine, but thank you.
Yeah. Maya?
Yes.
Your face is kind of tickling and
My face fall off.
no. It's just kind of like flickering almost. Like at the edge of your vision, there's like this flickering. And
Okay.
you're a little bit itchy. Brooke, you're pretty sure there's some kind of magic dampening effect. It's not strong right now, but you get the sense that the further into this you go, the less reliable your magic will be. Jamorn, there's ascending. It's weak. Some of the words, it's choppy. But those are the words that you get. It's in Zara's voice.
Yeah, obviously.
So should we go through door?
Yeah, sure. Top or...
I'm asking the parties, like...
Are they just
because
simple wooden
they're
doors
just like,
from what we can
look
see?
at all... Like, they hear and see things, I'm like... Door.
Yeah. The doors are quite heavy, and they're barricaded from the side that you're standing. Like you can lift the bar off the door.
Does anyone object?
I suppose not. I mean,
I would just like to point out that the deeper we go, the less effective magic seems to.
Don't worry. I think Jamon and I will be quite alright.
Maybe a really bad time, but I did just receive ascending, and there may be trouble.
Like twins?
a twin dilemma.
Well,
We can always come back.
yeah. Or you can run up. I mean, this is in Whitestone. There's probably not...
Yeah, yeah, you had to trek a little while to get here, but like at a full sprint, an hour and you'll be topside again.
A sprint for an hour?
I mean, as fast as you can run. There are plenty of people here who have ways of getting you there.
Oh my god. Why now? I can't leave you guys down here, though.
I will tell you now. Because someone made a roll. That someone being me.
This is an impossible choice. I can't leave her if that's what's happening, but I can't leave you either.
Why can't you leave us?
Because it could be dangerous down here.
We have 4 divas, and we're capable.
I would also just like to point out that we can all come back. It's not like she's gonna give birth 3 times in a week.
You know what? That's a very, very good point.
I mean, Keyleth did. No, you're probably right.
Well, but what?
It's fine. It's fine.
But yes, we can go topside.
Shit.
Come on, let's go.
Okay.
I closed the door behind him again.
Yeah, so I have to explain to Io why we can't do her thing today. But hopefully she understands. I created something and I have to see it. You get it. You of all people should understand.
It's just one more day. What's one more day?
It may be more than one day.
Okay.
No. It's one. You have 24 hours starting now.
Okay, yeah, I'm
break.
I'm dashing every round then. Dashing through the snow.
On the one horse open sleigh.
Yes.
For whoever is watching the stream, I did roll for this, and I shared the roll on Discord. And I rolled a nat 20 for how many days preterm Zara would deliver.
Which is conveniently literally exactly this day. So
Today. Yeah, you're sprinting. Like, you can feel the blood in your, like, throat. And by the time you make it topside, like abandoning everyone, like everyone else is kind of like jogging after you, you're like full on dashing every god.
yeah.
And by the time you make it, it's been maybe like a little over an hour. The house seems quiet. George, you don't see George
Okay.
as you dash in, and you do, however, hear the scream of a woman. Like, you stop for a moment, everything seems normal, and then you hear Zara screaming, and you're like, "Oh no, shit, not normal."
Yep. Not stopping.
You find Zara. Georgie's sitting at the kitchen, like someone obviously told her, like, sit here, do not move.
Yeah.
And upstairs in your bedroom, you find Sam sitting outside in the hallway, looking pale and very scared. And inside the room is your sister and Keyleth, as well as Zara, who's like, "He did this to me!"
Mm-hmm.
Why is he not here? Swear to God. And then the door slams open and you're like... And she starts crying. She's like, I was so worried that you wouldn't make it.
I almost decided not to come.
Are you fucking kidding me right now?
Yes.
I hate you.
Thanks.
And Keyleth is like looking up with like a cheerful smile and like, yeah. She's like 10 centimeters dilated and her contractions are about 45 seconds apart. You're having a baby. Baby.
Couple of them. I mean, I'm just gonna do what I figure everybody does in that situation and just, like, offer my hand as sacrifice.
Yes. It's fucking painful. And not just your hand, which really fucking hurts.
Your hand hurts so bad. That's the important thing to take
Yeah,
away.
right.
Yeah.
That was really painful. I know my hand, it hurts so bad.
But there's just something about seeing a person that you love in pain and being unable of helping them. And you have never been as angry at Keyleth as you are in this moment. Because she's like, oh yeah, no, everything's going to be okay. This is all just natural and beautiful and part of giving birth. And Sarah's like, I have drugs in the basement!
Right.
Why won't anyone give me drugs? And Sarah's like, oh no. Keyleth is like, no, this is fine. Everything's fine. Part of the glorious miracle that is childbirth. But just so calm. Whereas, like, the other 3 people in the room is pretty much all panicking. And yeah, it probably takes maybe half an hour from the time that you arrive until the first scream of a baby breaks what has become just a litany of curses from Zara.
Mm-hmm. For a moment.
Yeah. And it lasts for forever. Like that moment frozen in your mind of seeing a bloody, squirming baby, and it's the most beautiful thing that you've ever seen. But in actuality, it lasts for maybe 2 minutes. There's a lot less screaming on the second one. And it goes way quicker.
Thank God.
Your son is born at 17 minutes past 1. Your daughter is born at 21 minutes.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I would help them, well, whoever, Keyleth or whoever else is there, get them cleaned up and into Zara's arms.
Yeah, and I think, like, there's a moment where Keyleth is like, do you want to cut the cord? And you're like, panic mode, like, won't
Yeah.
that hurt the baby? And
Right.
she's like, ah, shit, new fathers. And does it. And 20 minutes later, both of the babies are somewhat clean and swaddled. And Zara's looking serene. Maybe because it's over. Maybe because she finally got drugs. Or maybe it's just sight of her children. You're not sure. They're perfect, aren't they?
Yeah. They are.
What are we going to name them?
Have any ideas?
Hope. And she points to the girl. I'm having a moment, phone. Shut up.
It's a good name.
I was thinking maybe we would name him after your father. I mean, if that won't make him move to Whitestone, nothing will.
It's a good point. I like it. If you pick the first names, I'll pick the middle names.
Okay.
Adelaide. And
Hope
Percival.
Adelaide. I like it. And I think the party's sort of like leisurely jogging up towards Mord's house, like, yeah, there might be babies. And you find Sam and Georgie outside the house, like sort of playing like a game of dice. Yeah. The dice look very familiar. And Sam is very kindly explaining childbirth to his sister. So there's like blood everywhere. She seems fascinated. As you come like leisurely jogging up the walkway to the house. One of the babies is quite upset. You can sort of hear the cries of a newborn as you come to a stop outside the house. And that is where we're going to end tonight's session.
Okay.
Because
Well
then we can have all the time next week to deal
For a
with demon babies.
dungeon! Oh, that
Because
too.
no, but I mainly don't want you to go into a longish dungeon dive when
Yeah.
Kestrel is finally back next week and we'll be around for a couple of weeks.
Sorry,
and we can do it
what?
all together.
Not
No.
Kestrel. Kestrel is
Oh,
dead.
yeah.
We
He's
have
still
that
dead.
hammered in
Riven.
stone.
Riven is back. Riven.
Kestrel is dead. DEAD.
Uh,
Dead.
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 Uh,
Dead.
Dead.
Listen to the DM. Dead. And if not, listen to the Dane. They know equally.